feel very poofy. Poofy. Downwards. Downwards. Poof. Hey up, my name's Kayla and this is All About the Page. Now today I am here with something a little bit different. If you followed my channel for a while, you will have noticed that in February I didn't do a reading wrap up. I had a really good reading month in February. I read a total of 14 books. It was something like, I read something ridiculous like 4,696 pages. It was like such a good month. And then I got to the end of the month and I went to do my wrap up and I had all the books piled up at the side of me and I got so overwhelmed trying to wrap these books up and do them justice that it just didn't work for me. It was too big a pile for me to get through. I found it really hard in January and then in February I gave up and I just didn't film what I'd read. And I read some cracking books and I feel awful that I've not talked about them, but I just couldn't do it. So this month I'm trying something a little bit different and I'm going to do like, it's not quite the middle of March yet, I don't think, at the point of me filming this. Let me look at my phone. It's the 12th of March. In that thing about lockdown is that you don't know, like, if you're from overseas. Here in the UK we're still in national lockdown and I don't know what bloody day it is. I just, like, every day feels the same. It's just ridiculous. I have no concept of time. But it is Friday the 12th of March apparently, according to my phone. And I'm going to wrap up the 4 books that I've read so far. Hopefully do them justice. I've read some absolute spanking books so far this month. And so yeah, so this is what this is. So hopefully I'm not gonna whittle on for too long. And I apologise for the lighting. I've tried several times to get this right, but there's still a glare in my glasses from my light, and it's pretty much doing nothing at the minute. So I don't know what to say to you. I'm not tech savvy, and we're winging it. So let's just crack on, shall we? So these are in no particular order actually in what I've read them in. I was going to say the first book that I've read in March. It's not the first book. It's the one that I finished yesterday. I finished it the day before. I finished 2 books in the last 2 days. But this is What I've Done by Laura Dockrell. Laura Dockrell is a well-known children's author, and she wrote a YA book called Big Bones. I absolutely would love that book. I should remember what it's called. And this is a memoir. It's not a memoir about her entire life. It's a memoir of her having a little baby boy and then being diagnosed with postpartum psychosis. Now this book is not something to go into lightly, I will say that, and there will be a lot of trigger warnings for this book, and I'm not going to discuss it in detail here because it's just a freaking minefield. Laura is so honest and open. She talks about exactly how it felt. She talks about how she had rituals, how that when her baby was born, and it's supposed to be the most beautiful time in your life, and the fact that it was so incredibly freaking hard. And she's never suffered from any mental health problems in the past. She's never really been an anxious person, never really had depression or anything like that. And for her to be diagnosed with postpartum psychosis, like pretty much from nowhere, from having this pregnancy where she was so happy to be having this baby, and it was just, oh my gosh, like the reason that I picked this book up is I listened to Happy Mum, Happy Baby podcast with Giovanna Fletcher, and Laura was one of the guests that was on there, and I listened to her podcast, and I was pregnant at the time, and it absolutely floored me. And I bought the book immediately, and then it sat on my shelves for a long time. And then after having Arthur, I've made it no secret on this channel that I've had quite a few complications and found being a mum this time difficult for various reasons. And I had a credit left on Audible, and I didn't really know what it was that I wanted to read next, and this was recommended to me. I listened to the sample, and it was read by Laura herself, and I decided that I would read along and listen to the audiobook. And it's so eye-opening and heart-wrenching, and I just think it deserves to be read. I think mental health in motherhood and beyond should be spoken about more. The fact that we have it imprinted into us that when our baby's born, that we will have this miraculous moment of bonding with our baby and everything will be fine, because once that baby's born, this overwhelming gush of love will be there for that baby. And when that doesn't happen, you feel on your own. You feel like you're the worst person in the world. You feel like you're not normal. There's times that you feel literally like, what have I done? What have I done to bring this child into the world? Because it's so difficult. Why am I not feeling the way that I should be? And it should be talked about a lot more. It should not be a taboo subject. And this book is definitely eye-opening, definitely worth a read. It's not an easy read at all, any way, shape or form. It is not. But I gave it, I think I gave it 5 stars or 4 stars. I find it really difficult to give a star rating for somebody's autobiography or somebody's life experience, because I don't feel like we can rate what they've been through. I don't feel we can rate that book in that way. But it is definitely worth a look into, and it's a really weird thing to say that I would highly recommend reading this or listening to it, but go into it with caution, and please look up trigger warnings for this book before delving in. So the next book that I want to talk about is A Room Called Earth, a novel by Madeline Ryan. And firstly, I'm hoping that this will come up, but like, how awesome and beautiful is that cover? It is absolutely stunning. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do this justice. This basically follows a young woman. I don't think we know her name. I'm almost sure we don't know her name. And she is on the autistic spectrum. Please forgive me if I get the pronunciations or the terms wrong. It's so hard. I am learning to be better and more mindful about what I say, especially because autism is something that is very close to my heart. So, but yeah, it follows a young woman who goes to a party, and then halfway through the party, she leaves. She goes for a walk and then she returns, and it sounds really bizarre to just say that she went to a party and then she leaves and then she comes back, but it's so much more than that, because when she's such a determined young woman, and you learn even from the clothes that she wears, the memories that the clothes when she's getting ready for the party, the clothes that she puts on, you learn how all these little things that she does makes a difference, sparks memories. She talks candidly about ex-boyfriends. She talks about her parents. She talks about her house. She really does take you on a journey in such a, I mean, it's not a really big book, and the book is set over, I think, a 24-hour period, but it really does pack so much into those 24 hours that you wouldn't think that somebody getting ready to go to a party, going to the party, going for a walk, returning to the party would take you on so much of a journey, but this book really does. I really enjoyed it. By the way, the cat is called Pork Chop, which is just like chef's kiss, like a name for a cat. Pork Chop, awesome. It's really hard for me to review this and to do it justice, because I think it's one of those ones that is going to be very Marmite. It's not It's not plot based. It's not fast paced plot. It's fast-paced plot. It's not twisty and turny. It is literally a journey, and it's not going to be for everybody. But I've really enjoyed it, and I'm so happy that I picked this one up. And even under the dust jacket, I just need to show you that it's rainbow under the dust jacket. It is beautiful. I will say, obviously, if you like books that grip you, that take you in every twist and turn that there is possible, that is not a book for you, but I really enjoyed it. The next book that I want to talk about is Things a Bright Girl Can Do. This week in the UK, or I think it was everywhere, because it's called International Women's Day, Kayla. It is everywhere, but this week was International Women's Day, and what a week it's been in the UK. It has, and for the world. I mean, on Monday we had International Women's Day. On Tuesday we had an ex-member of the royal family talking about how she was suicidal and bullied, and it was brushed over. And then, you know, Wednesday we're talking about the fact that a girl had gone missing, and women shouldn't be walking after dark on their own. And it's just been an absolute week, and I wanted to read a book about strong women, and so I picked up Things a Bright Girl Can Do by Sally Nichols. This is a book that's set in 1914. It follows, I think there's 3 girls. I'm sure it's 3 girls. It's we follow Evelyn, May and Nell. And it's there. It's so hard to describe, because obviously in 1914 women's rights were not really a thing. We weren't allowed to vote. We had we were basically to stay at home, rear the children, put the tea on the table. You know, finding work for women was really difficult. We were the ones that sat on the egg and nurtured, and that's what we were there to do. And this follows the suffragette movement. This follows these 3 women who are trying to make a stand for something different. I don't really want to say much more than that. Apart from, in this book, there is a female-female romance, which is something that I really didn't know it was in there. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect it. It was so lovely done. It was so brilliantly done. It was so nice to see characters that were so different. It was nice to see strong women characters. I believe this is a YA, and I just really enjoyed it. And I think there is something that's worth a read. I mean, obviously, if you'd have watched my my video my husband did, I dress up in vintage clothes. We do a lot of 1940s events. We do, my husband's in a swing band, and we do live that life a little bit, down to the music and everything. But it did open my eyes to how, you know, how much these women have fought for our right to vote. How much, like, I didn't realise that when suffragettes went to prison because they were captured, the police didn't tolerate them, and they would go on hunger strike, and the levels, the things that they would do to themselves to prove their points, to fight for us, and the way that the police service and the men and the way they were treated, and what they, like, to end on hunger strikes, they would literally put a tube down their throats and force feed them, and it was just brutal. And like, I'm so naive, really, because I've not educated myself, and I really want to educate myself a lot more. And this book was just awesome, and it's beautiful, and it's just worth a read. It really opened my eyes, and I gave it 5 stars. It just, I think I would reread it. I think it's something that I would like my daughter to read as well. I think it's really important. And yeah, I could just gush about this all day. It's just awesome. And the last book that I want to talk to you about is one that I don't think that I really need to say much about because it's bloody everywhere. But that's The House in the Cerulean Sea. The House in the Cerulean Sea. I can't say that. I I can't say that. But it's by T.J. Klune. And every man and his dog is reading this at the moment. I mean, it is beautiful. It is a guy who I can't remember his name. Linus, who goes to basically a orphanage that is here. It's kept out of the way, and he is sent there to make sure that everything is running as it should be. And the man that runs the orphanage, Arthur, they're basically making sure that everything is as it should be, and that the children are doing well, and that Arthur's doing what he should be doing. And this is one of the most beautiful, heartwarming books I've ever read. Like, the characters in it are basically misfits. That's what they are. We have the Antichrist in there. We have a character who is basically he's a blob, he's a jelly blob, and he has his eyes are on tentacles. We have gnomes, and the gnome is female. It is just it's one of the things that sticks out in this book for me is that all these children are misfits. They're hidden away because people don't want to know that they're classed as bad, and people don't want them around, so they're in this orphanage. And there is one of my favourite characters is a character called Chauncey, and he is the blob. He is the jelly blob with the tentacle, the eyes on tentacles. And he did a thing where he wants to be, we'd call them a bellboy, but I think in the book they refer to him as bellhop. So he wants to be like the person at the hotel doors that takes your bag and looks after you. But when Linus goes to stay there, he keeps hiding under his bed. And when he says to Arthur, who looks after these children, he said, but he keeps hiding under my bed. And he's like, because he's classed as a monster. That's what he's been told he is. That's what he's been told he should do. But he doesn't want to be that. He doesn't want to be known as that. And it just broke my heart, because I was like, how many times have you stereotyped, or have you seen something and you've seen somebody who's want to make a change, or that's a little bit different and wants to try something different, and you've brushed them off because that's not what they do. And it's just, oh my gosh, it hits you in the feels. Like, it made me want to cry so many times. I literally got to the end and I could have started it all over again. It is going to be one of my favourite books of the year, if not ever. And I just recommend, I know it's everywhere, but some books are just truly worth all the hype. And this is just one of them. I just think it needs to be read. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you pick it up. It is a bit pricey. For some reason, it is very highly priced in the UK, but it is worth every single penny. And, you know, if I can't imagine anybody not loving this book. Even talking about it, even holding it, just makes me want to go back in. It is so, so good. And you need to read this. There's a male romance in here as well, and there is LGBTQ plus rep. It's just just go and buy this book and read it, and just So I've got to stop gushing, but these are the four oh my god, these are the 4 books that I have read in the month of March. So far. And yeah, and I've loved them. I've had a really nice time with them, and I think you should go and check them out. So thank you for watching, and as always, all my links will be down below. Please like or subscribe, and if you've got this far and you've watched it and you don't even know what to say, just leave me a little emoji of your choice in the, like, obviously please don't leave me a poo emoji, because like I don't want to know that I'm shit, but please leave me something down below and let's chat and let's connect. And yes, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you with a new video very soon. Buy this book. Bye. Very, very, very.